This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Robert Montague resigns from cabinet following damning FLA report. Robert Montague has resigned from the cabinet as minister without portfolio, capping a turbulent run as a minister of government over the past 6 years. The precise reasons are not known, but the resignation comes days after a damning Integrity Commission report on the Firearm Licensing Authority cited him for knowingly granting a firearm permit to 6 people with criminal traces while he was National Security Minister. As a Security Minister from March 2016 to March 2018, Montague was in charge of the FLA. Legislation gives the minister the power to recommend permits, whether entirely on his own volition or on the recommendation of a review board. Montague's predecessor from the opposition People's National Party, Senator Peter Bunting, has also been named in the unfolding scandal. In a statement Thursday, Montague slammed the report as grossly misrepresentative and incomplete. At 10:59 Friday evening, Montague sent a WhatsApp broadcast message saying that within the last hour he gave Prime Minister Andrew Holness his resignation. The office of the Prime Minister later issued a 4-line statement confirming that Montague tendered his resignation with immediate effect. Minister Montague expressed that it was a privilege to have had the opportunity to serve at the highest levels in government, said a spokesperson in the statement, without mentioning any specific reasons. It's not certain whether Holness demanded the resignation. In his WhatsApp message, Montague said he has personal matters to deal with. I need the time and the space to treat with these matters. I have to deal with them. I have retained a law firm, he added, referring to the Integrity Commission's report. In January, Holness stripped Montague, the chairman of the ruling Jamaica Labour Party, of the Transport and the Mining Ministry and reassigned him as a minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. That followed the 2021 scandals involving the Airports Authority of Jamaica, law-breaking investment in startup private equity firm First Rock Capital Holdings, and the Clarendon Alumna Production Limited. Montague started as the National Security Minister in 2016 when the JLP won power, but soon came the controversy involving the botched procurement of used cars for the police and the scandal of the Firearm Licensing Authority over the issuance of license to persons of questionable character. The results of that FLA investigation were published this week. Montague is the Member of Parliament of St. Mary Western, and his departure from the cabinet has long been demanded by factions of the JLP that believed he did not support Holness in the leadership race in 2013. There were even calls for him to be removed as chairman last year. The news reported 2 days ago that Holness will have to mull whether Montague should remain in his cabinet. Man arrested in St. James' triple murder was out on bail. One of 2 men now in custody in connection with Wednesday night's killing of 3 young siblings in Irwin Heights, St. James, was out on bail in connection with other murder charges. 11-year-old Peter Gay Cook and her 19-year-old twin brothers, Giovanni and Giovanni Stewart, were gunned down at their residence. Their 1-year-old nephew, who was inside the house at the time of the shooting, was not hurt. Meanwhile, another man who was recently convicted and given a 15 years sentence for another matter is also being looked at in connection with the case. Based on the information, the man on bail is highly likely to be charged, Police Chief of Area 1 Assistant Commissioner Clifford Chambers told the news on Friday. Chambers said 2 men were taken into custody 2 hours after the incident during a major operation launched by his team. As it is now, investigators are doing a case review while they await some forensics, but it's highly possible, the lawman remarked when pressed on the possibility of charges being laid. The investigation has so far led them to individuals who are not unfamiliar with the justice system. There is a person that was convicted in the courts a few days ago and was sentenced to 15. So far, there is a strong correlation between the murders and the persons that have been picked up, Chambers said. The community of Irwin Heights has been rocked by the deaths of the siblings. A working theory now being looked at by lawmen is that the twin brothers were the intended targets while their younger sister got caught up in the assault. Licensed firearm holder among two held with cocaine and cash in St. James. A licensed firearm holder is one of two men arrested following the seizure of US $100,000 worth of cocaine on Thursday. Information reaching the news is that the men were reportedly held with cocaine and more than $370,000 cash during an operation by the police in St. James. The operation was carried out by members of the Area 1 Police's Narcotics Division in St. James. It is reported that about 5:45 p.m., the police conducted a snap operation along the Barrett Town Main Road in the parish, in which a silver 2015 Nissan Selfie motor car was intercepted and searched. During the search, the police found 2 kilograms of cocaine and cash inside the vehicle. The men who were traveling in the vehicle were taken into police custody, and the drugs and money were seized. Both men are said to be from the parish of St. Anne. Meat prices set to rise. Meat prices are set to increase following the announcement by one of Jamaica's major suppliers of animal feed, Nutramix, that it will cost more to purchase its products starting next week. In a notice to farmers, Nutramix said because of the conflict in Eastern Europe and the ongoing increase in agricultural commodities, it is seeing historically high raw material costs, which directly affect the price of animal feed. It said farmers can therefore expect a price increase effective Monday. Lenworth Fulton, president of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, told the news that poultry farmers are now faced with a dilemma due to rising operational expenses. He said the rising operational cost will inevitably lead to an increase in chicken prices. 18-year-old shot and injured in Irwin Heights, St. James. An 18-year-old man was shot and injured in Irwin Heights, Granville, St. James on Thursday. The man was walking in the community about 11:55 a.m. when two men on a motorcycle stopped in front of him. The pillion shot the man in his hand. He was treated at hospital. The attack came hours after three siblings were shot dead at their home in the same community. Most vaccine-hesitant Jamaicans less educated, study finds. A new Caribbean Policy Research Institute study into Jamaica's low COVID-19 vaccination levels has found that most vaccine-hesitant Jamaicans are less educated, low-income earners. The study, Long Shot, aiming to reduce vaccine hesitancy, was released on Thursday evening. Researchers surveyed a cross-sectional sample of 1,170 participants across Jamaica to determine the underlying factors that contribute to low vaccine uptake and the psychographic and demographic profile of those reluctant to take the shot. Researcher Christina Ivy says the survey results produced a predominant profile of the vaccine-hesitant Jamaican as a young low-income person who did not finish primary school.
46% of persons with a bachelor's degree were vaccinated, compared to only 33% of those who did not finish high school, and 23% of those who did not finish primary school. In the same vein, half the high-income bracket had taken the vaccine, compared to just 35% of the lower-income bracket. This is likely because less educated people on lower incomes may not have access to high-quality information related to the vaccine and may be less able to understand the information they do have, or be subject to misinformation, which is often more digestible. While this does not necessarily mean that inconvenience was the binding obstacle to vaccination, since only 4% stated that a more convenient location would make it more likely for them to take the vaccine, the high proportion is still noteworthy. These people could be unvaccinated primarily because of other factors, but the discovery that so many deem it to be inconvenient suggests that the government's efforts are still lacking. A doctor's office is the preferred location to receive the vaccine, followed by a health center. Community centers and schools are the least favored sites to get vaccinated.
Taxi driver found dead on Hellshire Road. The St. Catharines South police are investigating the murder of a taxi operator who was found on Helsha Main Road in Portmore on Thursday night. The taxi operator has been identified as 48-year-old Christopher Ellis of Old Harbour Glades, St. Catherine. Mr. Ellis was found near his Toyota Probox about 8:30 p.m. He had an injury to the head and the front of the vehicle was damaged. The police initially believed that Mr. Ellis died after being run over by a vehicle. However, it was later discovered that he suffered a bullet wound to the head. The news was informed that a bullet hole was found inside the vehicle and a spent casing meters away. Section of Coronation Market damaged by fire. A section of the Coronation Market in downtown Kingston was yesterday damaged by a fire. The fire reportedly occurred about 1:30 yesterday morning. The affected section is located at a Chapel Lane. Several stalls were destroyed in the blaze. A team from the Kingston and the St. Andrew Municipal Corporation was on hand to assess the damage. Councillor of the Tivoli Gardens Division, Donovan Samuels, who is part of the team, told the news that close to 40 vendors have been affected by the inferno. This is the third fire at a market in downtown Kingston in recent weeks. The Ray Ray Market and the Oxford Mall Arcade were affected by fires in February. Investigations are ongoing. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.